These are our two functions, f of x and g of x. And on the test, if it just says this, what operation are they asking us to do? What do you see in the middle of f and g? What symbol is that called? A minus, a subtraction. So they want us to subtract these two functions. On the test next week, it could be a minus, it could be a plus, or it could be a multiplication symbol. But this is subtraction, so they want us to subtract. So we're going to take our f of x, which is 3x minus 7, minus, now anytime it's subtraction, you need to put that g in parentheses. So let's go ahead and write that out. And the reason why we have to put it in parentheses is because we have to do a sign change. We have to distribute that negative. When you distribute the negative, it's going to flip the signs of everything inside of the parentheses. So the negative 2x is going to become positive, and the positive 1 is going to become negative. So what you have, if you have your 3x minus 7, and then it will be a plus 2x and a minus 1. So when it's subtraction, we do a sign change only for subtraction. We have to do a sign change. So now we're ready to combine our like terms. So we have the 3x and the 2x, and we have a negative 7 and a negative 1. So when I combine my like terms, what do you get when you add 3x and 2x? 3 plus 2 is 5x, good. And negative 7 plus negative 1? Negative 8. That would be your final answer for subtraction. Any questions about how we did that? Okay, so now we're getting ready to go back to something we already covered and integrated to. And I think I can't remember if we did it this semester, but that's making a cake. Who remembers making a cake? All right, that's what we're about to do. So we're going to do two different roots. Go to page 14 in your note packet. And whenever you're asked to find a root, what we're trying to do is break it down to the prime numbers so that we can look for pairs. Okay, so let's look at this first one here. We have two things. I'm on page 14. Is everybody on the page? Page 14, okay. So we have 25 and we have x squared. So I'm gonna make a cake with the 25. And we need prime numbers, a prime number that can divide into 25. So we can't divide 25 by 3. Can we divide 25 by 5? Yeah. So how many times does 5 go into 25? 5 times. So we're going to put a 5 here. And then 5 can be divided by 5. So we have our candle. So because this is a square root, this has an invisible 2 in the elbow. I like to think of that as the elbow right there. There's an invisible 2 right there in the elbow. That means we're looking for pairs. And we have a pair. We have a pair of 5s. So that 5 is going to come out. And then we're going to look at our variables. We have x squared, so that means we have 2 x's. If you have 2 people, how many pairs can you make with 2 people? Show me with your finger. How many pairs can you make with 2 people? Just one. Just one pair. So we have an x. When we're simplifying, we're just writing, we're taking out the pairs. So I have one pair of 5, so that's why I have a 5 here. And I have a pair of x's, and that goes there. So the square root of 25x squared is 5x. All right, let's do 144. Now 144 is going to be a bigger cake. So I'm going to give myself some more space. So we're going to start by dividing it by 2. So pick up your calculator, take 144 divided by 2. We're going to keep dividing it by 2. So who got 72? All right, let's keep dividing it. Divide it by 2 again. Now we got to a 9. Can we divide 9 by 2? Nope. Can we divide 9 by 3? All right, so let's switch to 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 3 1 time. So now we're going to circle pairs. So I have 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 pair. I have 3 pairs. So that means I have 2 times 2 times 3. And what is 2 times 2 times 3? 12, yeah. So the square root of 144 is 12. And we can know that 144 is a perfect square because it's one of the numbers I have in the front. That means that we have pairs. Nope, nobody's left out. And then now I have 3 x's. So let's go ahead and make 3 x's. 1, 2, 3. So we still have 1 pair, but do you notice we have an x left out? So does anybody remember what we do with that when we have an x left out? Where do we put it?
Put it inside.
Yeah, it has to stay inside. Has to stay inside of the square root. And that would be your final answer. So if you have somebody left out, they have to stay inside the square root. All right, let's do a couple more. So now we have an 8. So let's go ahead and build the cake with the 8. I'm gonna write the numbers. So when we're baking our cake, we're using prime numbers. Right over here. So these are the numbers you're going to use to build your cake. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. And then it keeps going. And the majority of your cakes, you're only going to use these 3 numbers. But these are prime numbers. So when you're building your cake, you're building it with a 2, a 3, a 5, a 7, or an 11. All right, go ahead and keep dividing 8. And you're going to keep dividing it until you get a 1. All right, so we can divide. How many layers did you have before you got to the 1? 3, good, yep. So 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 2 1 time. So this is my pair. So that's going to come out. Then we're going to make our square root. Now this one did not have a friend. So that 2 has to stay inside the house. Can't take it out. And then I only have 1 x. I don't have enough to make a pair. So it also has to stay in the house. All right, let's look at our next one, 32. Go ahead and build your cake. Keep building it using 2, 3, 2s and 3s. I think you can, yeah, use all 2s. Okay, so show me with your fingers how many layers did you have with the 32? How many layers on your cake did you have? 5? Who had 5? Yep, that should be about right. So let's divide the 32 by 2. So 2 goes into 32 16 times. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 2 goes into 2 1 time. So we have a pair and a pair. So that means I have 2 times 2 that can come out. Let me make my little house. And then that last 2, this 2 has to stay. And we'll multiply it and finish it out at the end. All right, so now we also have to look at these variables. So I have 3 x's and I have 2 y's. Let's look at the x's first. How many pairs of x's can you make? Show me with your finger. How many pairs? Yeah, just 1. Good. Y'all catching on good. I think y'all remember this. So this one comes out, and this one has to stay in the house. And then for your y's, show me with your fingers how many pairs. Yeah. And there's none left over. So when you multiply this together, 2 times 2 is 4 x, y, and then you have the square root of 2x. And this would be your final answer. Any questions about that? I'm glad y'all remember building a cake. All right, let's keep going. Make a cake with the 50. And then you're gonna count out 5 x's and then 6 y's. Go ahead and make your pairs. Yep, these are our last 2. So build a cake with the 50 and then circle your pairs. So for the 50, you can use the 2 and you can use 5. Those are the prime numbers you're using to build your cake for 50. 2s and a 5. All right, so 2 goes into 50 25 times, and now we have to jump to 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 goes into 5 1 time. So I'm gonna make my little house here so I can have a place to put my leftovers. So the 5 can come out, that comes out, but this 2 did not have a partner. So I have to leave that 2 in the house. That's where that 2 goes. Guess I can move this over. It don't have to be that far away. Okay, so now let's look at X. Show me with your fingers how many pairs could you make with the X's? Yep, 2. So we have 1, 2. So that means I have X squared. That's how we show that there's 2 pairs. But then there was an X that did not have a friend. So he had to stay in the house. And then with our Y's, we have 1, 2, 3. So that would be Y to the 3rd. And then that is our final answer. All right, let's do the last one for today, 49. Now, 49 is one of my pink numbers, so I know that there's going to be a pair. Nobody's left out. And I'll help you out and tell you that you're going to have to use 7. Because 49 cannot be divided by 2, by 3, by 5, but it can be divided by 7. So, build your cake with the 49. And then you have to make 4 X's and 5 Y's. So 7 goes into 49 7 times, and 7 goes into 7 1 time. So we have a pair of 7s that can come out. Then when we look at our X's, we have 1, 2 pairs. So that would be X squared. And then with your Y's, we have 1, 2, so that would be Y squared. But we have a Y that did not have a partner. So we're going to leave that Y underneath the square root. And that would be your final answer. All right, so let's look at homework 3 real quick. It's one-sided. Homework 3, can you write is due on Monday, November 18th. Your test is Wednesday. Now, today, you can only work on numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I want you all to work on questions 1 through 5. You're going to build cakes. If you need to show work on the back, if you don't have enough space, you can flip it over and work on the back also. But for today, you're building a cake, and you're only working on 1 through 5.